Hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier, broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. We're back tonight with another Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword. This is our Klingon game in the 23rd century, and before we get back into the events of the last game and our previous episode, we just have a few small shout outs to get to. For one, I would be remiss if I did not give a shout out to something to reciprocate to one of our excellent GMs in the community, someone who served as a fair bit of inspiration for me, and who, by watching, I in part learned some of the system myself. That would be one ELH Mark I, who has a number of Star Trek Adventures games, both in their own YouTube archive and that are running live right now. They also have a number of other systems at work, including at least one homebrewed system that they worked out. I think something more anime inspired, if I recall. In any case, it's something definitely worth checking out. Similar shout out would also go to another group, friends of the channel over at the Architects of Fate, which I should remember to use the shout out command there. There we go. Architects of Fate. They have been running they've been running a few games, some of them Star Trek Adventures, some of them not. I will say a personal favorite of mine is their Friday game, the Cookie Trek that they usually run, which is basically breaking a Star Trek script in a half hour using the Star Trek Adventures engine. It's very good, silly fun. I count my greatest introduction to the lore being a time travel related romance between a Starfleet captain and a Kzinti raider that neither saw coming. So it's great. As far as a more localized mention here, one, of course, always goes to one of our resident streamers and podcasters, the Overland Gamer, aka Mr. Isaac Korg, who was obviously doing quite a bit on their own. It looks like last time there was some... I remember watching the PC building simulator.
That's right. We were checking out a brand new game that dropped for brand new for us. Um, but yeah, it was kind of an interesting look into what it takes to build a computer. It was quite fascinating.
Yes,
We
yes.
have our live stream that he just linked there. We also have our podcast, which is available on Spotify, Overland Gamer the podcast, and yeah, we've got some exciting things coming up.
Yeah, and as I recall, Joe, you were also... you've mentioned before on this stream and elsewhere about the... about another certain event, at least partly tied with Modifius here, the Fallout for Hope. Got to give it one more
That's
plug?
right. Fallout for Hope is a charity, kind of a streamathon kind of thing for St. Jude's Hospital. Um, they say war never changes, but hope always remains. Fallout for Hope was started back in 2020 when Chad from a Fallout 76 story podcast. He started basically he sent out a call for streamers of Fallout to come together for this cause. And since then, I think we have over 600, 300. I'm not entirely sure exactly how many, but if I look at my thing here, hang on. 614 worldwide volunteers for this event. It starts in 2 days. There is a countdown on the falloutforhope.com. I'll link that into chat here in just a moment. But yeah, it's a really exciting initiative. How it's tied into Modifius is Fallout 2D20 is the Fallout role playing game from Modifius. It's the Fallout for Hope thing's mostly a live stream for the Fallout 76, Fallout 4, any of the Fallout games. But like to tuck the Fallout 2D20 in there as well. For my podcast, we will be doing some fun stuff with Fallout.
Well, good stuff, good stuff. And those are all things worth checking out. One other final note before we get going, and a mention back to our the people whom we owe this game engine to, at least in part, the folks over at Modifius. They actually have a free module with Star Trek Adventures missions out that are themed for the original series, I think later in the era, so by all means check that out, and you should be able to order it. They have both UK and US based stores, so the website will depend there, but I would go online and definitely check that out.
Freebies are always welcome.
Yep. And with all of that out of the way, we are ready to get back to our main adventure, specifically QIbDaq yu'wI'pu Part 2. We'll get into... That's less a sneeze than previous games I've had. But in any case, my paltry mastery of Klingon aside, mastery is also in air quotes for you, chat. When last we left off, the crew of the Yan has been rendered asunder.
We had a couple of bad days.
It's been one very bad day on the colony of Zethlor, where only a portion of the crew has managed to return to the Yan. For, as best you know, first, your most security-minded crew member, the ever able-bodied Woe, seemed to have met with another Kzinti that successfully incapacitated her. And beamed away, despite Azek having leveled a strong shot against her. It seems that they are presently incapacitated. Well, they were incapacitated, and the two Kzinti beamed away. Meanwhile, while some of you were able to return to the ship, you found that the other large group you had on the planet, the captain and his bodyguard, Dakoth, met with combat as well.
Dakoth was killed.
Dakoth was found dead, and the captain is nowhere to be found. The tracking system, it is not giving you...
Zional apparently put some sort of tracking device on the captain.
Yeah, in your undies.
Yeah.
When he does the laundry.
Ah, okay.
Yep. Quartermaster and laundry. Yep.
I mean, someone's got to wash those Klingon tidy whities before they become tidy brownies.
Oh God. Oh dear.
Or brown and crunchies.
Yeah.
Oh.
Moving along.
Zional doing some truly honorable work there. In any case, one more note. The quote from Enterprise: "Waste takes on a different meaning when it's coming from 5 different species." There we go. Done. So you are attempting to solve that. You're attempting to solve that mystery, but there's very little that you had until it occurred to Azek that he was suspicious of one of the members of the crew. Specifically the Nausicaan helm officer, Bahan. And in the moment where he challenged him openly and tried to incapacitate him, or I'd say successfully incapacitated him, Bahan, who is none too sober at the moment, I should say, he seemed to let slip that he might well actually be responsible. So that has left us on the bridge with a very controversial order on Azek's part. One.
And also the fact that when the crew tried to turn the ship on recorded message from the captain said, "You ain't going nowhere without me."
Indeed. Yes. The captain seems to have left protocols in place that prevent you from leaving without the captain's presence, or without the ability to bypass the systems which keep you in place. So that's a lot of engineering work, it would seem.
The captain did rebuild the ship.
Indeed. So, as other notes for for that last recap, let's see, the captain himself does seem to his whereabouts remain unknown for most of the rest of the crew. Although we'll get to him in a moment. In any case, in his absence, Azek is left alone to be or Azek has taken it upon himself to lead the crew in his absence and has given a most controversial order. And so I think that is just where we will pick up. We start in the scene on the bridge of the Yan. Azek the Nausicaan is lying at your feet after you gave him a very swift knock to the basically blow to the gut, and you've sent him down. He has given the order to extract what information can be extracted by whatever means necessary. And Doctor, in your if memory serves, are you still on mismatched eye shields, or did you just change out for the? Okay.
Yeah, we're sticking with mismatched eye shields.
Yep. I think at this point all eyes tip towards you, past towards your somewhat inscrutable reptilian face, and through the silver and gold eye shields that conceal your the look that look beyond. So, take it away, there, Kresic.
I walk over to where Azek and Bahan are. And I get nice and close to Azek. I lean down. I will say the same to you as I did to our captain. You do not tell me how to perform my work.
I didn't say how. I said what I wanted to get done. You are in control of the how.
And I pick up Bahan and I start taking him away.
Okay. Is anybody following the doctor towards the sick bay?
I will. I have to clean everything up afterwards.
I see. So we'll keep Traven on. We'll move Traven out with the doctor and Bahan. So setting you towards there. Is anyone else following in their wake?
Yeah, I want to watch.
Fair enough. I was going to ask Raldar whether your plans were to stay on the bridge or to go elsewhere. We can take you out into the hallway as well. Let's see. So before we leave the bridge, Azek, is there anything else you want to do now that you have assumed command?
Vopra, we need to make a scan of the ship to make sure that there are no signals going out that are unwanted. I would hate for our friend there to have some kind of a transporter issue should the event arise. Our captain and Woe were both taken by transporters obviously we think by external means, but I do know that it is possible for people to send out a signal to be picked up, as it were.
I can begin. I can attempt to set up an inhibitor field, or at the very least, attempt a localized jamming signal, preventing any communication signals going to or from the ship without our knowing, or without our knowing at the attempt.
Perfect.
I
Now, what
would-
are we going to do about this computer getting our engines back online? What options do we have? And I'm going to address the rest of the crew.
Well, presuming that everybody is, the people that wanted to leave the room are out. Well, I'll ask actually before that happens. To those of you that were going for the going to see what happens to Bahan, did you want to stay back just long enough to answer, or would you prefer to be out of the scene from there?
I'm headed straight out.
Okay. Traven, Raldar, would you just be sticking close to Kresik on this one?
Yeah,
I
I'll probably
can-
stop by the kitchen to grab some food.
I'll probably be the one that would linger a little bit.
Okay, so as those three, Kresik moves out willfully, dragging Bahan along, and Traven decides to get a bit of a snack before potential torture. Raldar, you hang back for just a moment as Azek puts the question to the group. Oh dear, and Vopri has vanished. I didn't mean to get rid of him. There we go.
He's a changeling. Bopri was in on it too.
My God.
Oh, oh no.
Oh
Oh
dear.
no.
Oh no. Oh dear.
I am sorry. I have other voices playing in my head.
He's lost it.
Let's see. So, sorry, just there we go. Vopri is back and visible for everyone on stream. So, I guess Vopri will say first. Question is, I do not know if I have an answer at the moment, Captain. He pauses for a moment before letting himself say the words. The computer interlocks, such as I have seen them, are quite sophisticated, and there could be any number of issues that it unfortunately falls beyond my expertise.
What about a complete core purge? Just erase everything and start again.
That's tempting. Though,
Depends
is
on
there a
how
way?
long we can stay still to fix it.
Well, we're staying still regardless.
Is there any way to keep the personal files separate? I'd hate for the captain to get back and not have his diary to reference.
Well, let's see. Krokura will interject. Well, I don't think that anything of our personal records would be impacted, and we could probably cordon those off into separate drives, but you're talking about eliminating quite a bit of the... if we're talking about completely wholesale trying to undo any of the code here that keeps us... keeps the basic ship functions running, then I don't know if I'd recommend that. And there could be a lot more places than that which obstructions are hidden. There could be any number of mechanical elements, that Tabak, he's a crafty sort. So devilishly brilliant.
I'm gonna look at the is it Cheshire, the cat
Yes.
sitting on the captain's chair, and kind of scratch him behind the ears. You don't happen to have any ideas, do you, little one?
Give me the first roll of tonight.
Oh no.
Uh,
You're gonna
this-
piss off Cheshire.
Let's see. Animal
Or
handling.
does
Would
the
that be
cat know
more
more than it's letting on?
control, command, or control security, do you think?
Animal handling?
Yes, yes.
I'd say presence for a cat.
You know, that's fair.
I'd say it should be a presence command check, honestly.
Yes, yes. We must
Okay.
determine whether you are worthy of command.
What's the difficulty?
And
Difficulty.
The difficulty is impossible because it's Tabok's cat. And it doesn't matter what you do.
I have inspiration and composure for my focuses. Would either of those work?
You know, I think it is important to be composed when dealing with the cat. I will set your difficulty to 2 here just to see whether you garner, like, notice, let's say.
The difficulty is one
Oh!
for how long it's been since you fed him yourself.
Yep. The cat meets your glance as you scratch it with your with your remaining arm, Azek. It doesn't instantly recoil, nor necessarily does it say immediately like lean into the scratch behind the head, but it will slightly close its eyes after a time and allow you to get a little bit more behind its head and ears and all that. It will not yield the seat to you, but you do gain a point of momentum.
Yep. Well, do we know anybody on this planet that has computer skills that might be able to help us out with this? An ally of the captain's that we might know. that
How
could-
how important is it that it be that it be this ship?
to what do you mean, like get rid of this ship and get another one?
I'm not saying get rid of it, but if it's not doing us any favors, perhaps we can find ourselves a different one until we get the captain back.
And where are we gonna get it?
Well, I was considering going to where our captain disappeared from. I believe that place has people who deal in information and favors. That's what you did.
The idea of our captain leaving as a captain and coming back as a commodore is appealing. However, your idea brings up an interesting thought. Why don't we send a group to where Tabak was captured at, and ask around to see if anybody knows who took him, gather some information there, and see if that points us in the right direction. Let's not worry about a new ship just yet. Vopri, once you get those jamming signals up, let's start working on a way to bypass this without crippling our ship or having to scrap it.
Okay, I will get to work. And such that he can, with the computer systems working as they are, Vopri will attempt to carry out your orders. So, anything else you guys want to do whilst on the bridge here?
Out of character question.
Yes.
When I'm picturing when a ship docks, that at sometimes the ship will have to get shut down and power would have to get rerouted to the ship from the docking port for repairs, for stuff like that, correct?
It would depend slightly on the circumstances. For example, if you are orbiting from on a spaceport, then it's necessary to do that in order to preserve life support and what have you. There are umbilical connections that can be used for refueling, small supplies of basic power just to keep the ship habitable. On a ground landing scenario, there might be some ports essentially that are used to, say, provide some fueling elements. I think that the only thing that would be really necessary for here would be like deuterium supplies. But otherwise, I don't know necessarily that there would be need for an independent power feed here.
Okay.
Or that they would be supplying you power.
Okay. Back in character. Another option we could do is have somebody go to see the dock master and see if they have any portable generators we can borrow for the time being while we do some internal repairs. Got to make sure we've got the right plug-in for the wall adapters. As I've heard some of the Earthers talk about. Let's get it done. And Azek will go over and help Vopri whatever he can.
Okay. Let's see. Unless...
I think I just stole a catchphrase.
Well, Raldar, unless you... would you have any interjection before we get out of the scene here?
Tatson just says to get power running. Well, I have a few ideas for that. I'll get to work on it. He doesn't worry.
Gotcha. We'll come back with that soon. In the meantime, a quick look out into the corridor, where Kresik, you are dragging along the conscious would be partially accurate to describe the Nausicaan that you are bringing along right now. He's not entirely sober from what you can discern, however. So, you find that you are not alone, however. Shortly after picking up some food from the galley, Traven appears to be following along behind. Cheesy, just to set the scene a little bit, as Kresik drags this Nausicaan along, I'd actually ask both of you to describe your demeanor as you are walking down the corridor to sickbay.
Traven, you first.
Well, I'm more satisfied now that I've eaten. A few things are going through Traven's head. The biggest thing I think is on his face is a sense of not wanting to do something because he knows if Kresik breaks a rib or something, he's gonna have to clean it up. He doesn't want to clean again, but he has to. Not worried about Bahan at all.
So, Kresik, such that one could discern his demeanor from the outside, how would you say, what would you say Azek is looking like, or what is his demeanor at this time?
Azek?
Kresik, rather.
Oh, no. So Kresik got smaller, lost an arm, and started telling dad jokes.
But
Klingon dad jokes.
he also got younger.
True. While also getting older at the same time.
Yep. This is the worst Benjamin Button.
True. As far as anything directly visible, you can't really note anything, but you do just see Kresik always has a bit of a limp from times past. It seems to be more pronounced right now as he is dragging this, carrying, slung over his shoulder, Bahan's mostly unconscious body. And he just to Traven behind him, not looking, knowing that Traven's there. If I tell you to step outside, you step outside.
I will listen to your judgment, but just know he's a traitor. I don't take kindly to traitors at all. None of us do. Every single one of my symbiotes hates every fiber of that dude's being. So whatever you do to him, I don't care.
Traven, give me a insight and command check. Difficulty 1.
Trying to get my character sheet pulled up. It's lagging a bit, sorry.
All good.
Insight and command?
Yes.
Where's your second dice?
Right there.
Okay.
Yo.
That is 3 successes. Yeah, Traven, as you say those words, and you seriously try to mean it, you feel... you definitely feel that something doesn't quite come out with the... there's something just a little bit... something feels slightly incongruous as you say that. In particular, I'd say that there's maybe a recognition that from all of them that, yes, loyalty is important, but there are some parts that remember what those... they remember places that were not so friendly to those who are downtrodden, and they know what is likely to happen next to Bahan, and I'd say you get a distinct feeling of phlegm that really gives you a serious bit of indigestion, let's say.
I turn around from Kresik as he's walking away, like against the wall, kind of. And I just basically start talking to myself, and I say, "Listen, we all have different views. I get that. We all have different views of justice. We've all come from very different times. We accepted him. We helped him. He had an alcohol problem. We did everything in our power to make sure that he had everything he needed to get himself back on his feet. And all he did was spit in the captain's face for his generosity and his kindness, which in Klingons, the Klingons don't do that. So it makes it even more special that and it makes it more serious that he threw it away. I'm sticking with this, and I'm really sorry if you don't like this choice, but this is mine. I just want you all to understand that. And then I start walking back towards Crescent.
Yep.
real Smeagol energy.
Yeah. We'll say for our purposes that you have already ascended to the next deck, or that you are coming out from you're coming out from the turbo lift, or rather the elevator in the center of the ship that would get you up to the same deck as medical, and that you are about to enter the room. Bahan, or rather, Kresik, with Bahan in tow, do you take Traven in with you as well, or would you prefer to start off?
He's not going to invite Traven in, but he's also not going to stop him from coming in.
Very well. So, Traven, going in with Kresik then?
Absolutely.
All right. Then you will both walk through the doors of the sick bay, and behind you they will close, leaving us with an empty corridor, and the three of you to set about a most difficult task. As all of that proceeds, we go back, and I think we should check in elsewhere here. Let me just take a look at something. Okay, just making sure. All right. So, let us move the scene over then. Not trying to take the folder with me. Please let go. There we go. Alright, so we are taking the group over to this set. There we go. Tabak, you feel the floor under you once more. The familiar thrumming of this deck panel. Barely able to perceive the room around you, although you know that you are joined by another now, as you have in the past couple goes. You are you find yourself prone, but able to steadily recall movement in your limbs and press yourself up as needed. You see that your compatriot in the cell, or at least the fellow prisoner, a woman you've come to know as Mindu, or more appropriately, Mindu. She is also coming to, and indeed, maybe just a hair faster than you. She's able to pivot back up and stretch a little bit. Oh. You know, the first time that you had an imprecise choice of words, that was... I couldn't blame you for, but if you're going to supply them vulgar expressions every time, then maybe do so just a little more carefully. I feel like you're giving them ideas.
I do not have time or the patience for their foolishness.
Yeah,
If they're going to kill me, they need to get on with it. And stop wasting my time.
I don't think that they are particularly intent on killing either of us. If they had, then they would have done so much earlier. Indeed, they would have done so to me earlier. Always that same question.
It's an old question.
Yes, yes. Who are you? Whom do you work for?
No, choose your pain.
Oh.
It is an old, old expression.
Well, yes, I suppose you'd know that, being from a high noble house, such as you are. Or such that the House of Cord is. It's Cord or Cord? I don't.
Cord.
Very well.
He doesn't. Tabak does not trust this person. She's asking questions, and it seems like to him she's been tossed in to put him at ease and ask the questions that he refuses to answer. So he's trying really hard not to give anything away, and I don't know how good he is at it.
Fair enough. Oh, as she begins to stand and get her bearings again, the room steadily resolves around you, and the walls, the door, all manifest once more.
And it's not like it's a change of lighting. The walls on the door are just suddenly there.
That's very much
Right?
what it feels like, although it could be a trick of your senses not being entirely like entirely back to where they were. You do feel a bit woozy every single time this happens.
Does the quality of the sound in the room change when the walls suddenly appear? Like it becomes perhaps slightly more echoey.
Give me an insight and engineering roll.
Insight, engineering. 2 dice. No complication. Range.
Just
Right.
staying at 1.
See how I do on this one.
Any focuses?
None that I think would apply.
Orion Technology.
No, I have Orion Business Practices.
Oh, business
but I also
practices.
have-
Oh, wrong
I
one.
have, but I have Xenotechnology.
Yep.
But that's apparently, according to Mr. GM, that does not apply.
Yeah. Xenotech need not apply here.
Yep, but I got 2 successes.
Yep.
So we get another.
So you're
momentum
looking to
now.
see basically if the acoustics seem to change when the walls and the doors show up.
Right, like if they're not there, really not physically there, the sound quality will be very different when we speak than when the walls appear.
Yeah. So what I would say on that regard would be, sorry, just a moment here. So what I would say on that matter would be that there isn't any discernible change between the moment that the walls and door show up versus the time before. It is very much it is staying consistent here, and you would take
Right.
note of that.
Okay. Because just not being able to see the walls and then having the walls just sort of fade into existence is just seeming very weird to
Yes.
Tabak. He's
Yes.
like, how do they do that? He's an engineer. He's trying to figure it out. So,
Absolutely. Yep. Let's see. Mindu will set aside looking over the walls again and just say, You know, I've looked over these panels half a dozen times. No, dozens of times more. Goicha, I can't even count anymore. I spent a lot of time looking over the door as well, she says, turning back to you. Never seen a change to it, or never found any sort of weakness to exploit anything of the like. I don't blame you if you feel the need to go back.
well, I haven't made it around the entire room yet.
I think I managed that well, I stopped trying to exploit the door after 3 days, I think. I was able to get a good sense of what was around there. Panel must have taken at least 2 weeks. Or the wall, each wall panel, and... or was it multiple? Passage of time is a little hard to discern in here.
I would assume so. I would assume so, as they keep knocking us unconscious.
Yes.
Who are you?
You know, the last time I got asked that question, it was from a pair of eyes that appear beyond my door.
Yes, but you're asking all of the questions the eyes keep wanting to know. Just slightly more subtly.
Oh, are you alleging some dishonesty on my part?
Perhaps.
She clicks
You
her
being
tongue.
here and asking those same questions is suspect.
Yes, and well, you know, if I were more highborn like you, then I'd be insulted by it. But you know, those of us living more on the fringes don't have the time of day for every single practice. And I, as I've told you, am Mindu. You can, if you're looking for a house name or a line of note, I don't have one. If there was any in my family's past, then that ceased to be of relevance sometime. So far as I know, at one point my family were serving as Savan on some well-respected colony world. At some point there was some fragmenting. Maybe one of them lost themselves in the Imperial service, and others scattered. I can only tell you that I started out on board a starbase, and I've pretty much been living my lives on starbases. As my last place of employment, I was over on yu'wI'pu, which does sound a little familiar, I'll say. Or
Well-traveled. Well-traveled.
Or rather, yu'wI'pu. That would be the proper pronunciation. Sorry, I get the Y and the J mixed up there. But yes, your well-traveled nature does tell you that is a familiar starbase operating, I'd say, in a fairly, of all places, well-traveled region. It sounds like a lot like a service station near the DPIP system.
And about how far away from where we are now is that?
Well, so far as you remember,
As far as
Zethlar,
from Zethlar.
I would say DPIP is much closer to the Klingon core worlds. I'd say that it's more along the lines of like a some sort of internal perimeter, not within like the precise security zone that constitutes the proper control Kronos exercises. So it's not entirely like in the core worlds, but it's much closer to the heart of the Empire than, say, Zethlar, which is very much on the Orion frontier.
Okay. He's still not trusting her. She.
How does Tabak respond, at least to her initial mention of her spaceport work? Or her initial claims? I didn't know if you were going to interject or had more.
I know the place. What did you do there?
By and large, I mostly did logistical work, supplying refuel, arranging, working over ship manifests, arranging cargo transfers. Fairly simple work. A lot of reprovisioning. We had a fair number of ships come through. Some from the houses, some Imperial ships, a lot of merchantmen. Even a few odd traders with only partially Klingon crews. I'll tell you, it's strange to see something with the yu'wI'pu on board, but you do get a fair bit of them sometimes.
Did you ever service any of the old Raptor class ships?
Raptor class? Oh, no, I don't think I've I've ever seen anything quite so old like that. Honestly, I thought that the Empire had phased them all out. No. The oldest one I would see, there'd be the occasional freighter configuration based on that old, the old D5 design. Noting, I'm only doing that. I'm not citing the proper Klingon class only because I don't remember the designation here. But that's just
okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's what the universal translator does. It just translates
Yep.
it all into a language we can understand.
Yep, this is for the benefit of the of our audience here on Earth, whom we appreciate. Hopla.
If we have an audience elsewhere, please let us know. Please.
If
Please.
Well, if they're Klingon, then that might pose a problem for all of us.
Well, we won't hear back from them in quite some time if we have a Klingon audience. They're
Fair enough.
far, far away.
Fair enough. Yeah.
We want to see our favorite creator. What do you mean he's dead?
No, but I see a few old freighters like that. In terms of the Imperial service, I see a few bird of preys that probably predated the last war. Maybe even more turn of the last century. Yeah, it's mostly the more modern equipment you get around there, such that the Empire still, well, such that their ships operated in the area.
Okay, so I rattle off a quick he's an engineer. He's kept up. So, the oldest ship that she mentions, he rattles off some sort of technical specification, like really minuscule, trying to see if she can. Like he's asking a question about this particular. What's the torque on this little wing nut over here, just to see if she knows that. He's testing her.
Look, well, not that I'm that sort of maintenance technician, but it falls out a little outside of my area of specialty. I'd be more if they were I would know more on that if they were, say, transferring that amount of goods to and from a ship, necessarily. But she takes a moment to think here. She'll give as much of or she'll still try to answer your question, Tabak, but it will be of the uncertainty that reflects that her background isn't in the she hasn't committed the background information on the type of freighter to heart.
Okay, but does the information she give at least give me the suggestion that she knows what she's talking about?
She knows a bit of engineering lingo that she probably would have picked up working at a starbase, but it's not a complete professional level of it, per se.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know it sounds weird, but he's trying to figure out how to test her.
Yeah. Well, I don't. If you're going to put me through if your intent is to put me through the equivalent of some sort of guild certification program to become a maintenance specialist with some sort of engineering plot here, then I already had enough. I got enough of that from one of my supervisors back on the starbase, and I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing that. Or going into that field, rather. What about, I suppose, what about you? You mentioned that you mentioned some, actually trying to remember, because my notes seem to have omitted part of that. Did you mention the merchant status of your house? So I think the last time she'd speculated...
Nope, she's been speculating about my house, and I just told her that I lied and told her I was from a powerful house.
Oh. A powerful house she's never heard of.
Powerful house she's never heard of, because basically I didn't want to give her any more information than I needed to.
Fair enough. Well, I don't know. Anything else you want to know about the starbase, or perhaps you want to know more along the lines of whatever they're asking about?
What have they asked you?
Well, it starts simple enough. Who are you? Who do you work for? And then they get in a little more. There's a few specific questions in the gathering. At a certain point, while I put up some of the same sort of protest as you, I did eventually figure that, hey, I am an honorable Klingon, so I may as well put on my best face and proclaim proudly who I am and what I do. That we are so much our work that I said it pretty clearly, and from there the questions would change whenever they actually got around to asking them. Sometimes they'd ask who I've seen. They'd ask if I'd heard things. They don't subject me to quizzes on the specifications of different starship classes, if that's what you're curious about.
See, you had to poke at his honor with that. Wow, you are a devious bitch, sir.
Yep. She, as near as you can tell, she cares. Well, she might not necessarily care a whole terrible lot about it, but she's, as a Klingon, she definitely understands the nature of different customs, and I would say she did rightly lance you a little bit for alleging some potential for dishonesty on her part. That did not go unnoticed by her.
Yeah, no, it didn't. Which is also interesting.
So, what's your plan for this? I imagine that big, strong warrior that you are, you have some idea on how you're going to get yourself out?
Well, the door needs to be opened first. That's step one.
And how exactly do you plan on doing that?
Open it. Fairly simple. However, finding out how to open it, that's the tricky part.
Yes, it is. Well, she'll look over her hand, just trying to stretch it out a little bit, or crack some knuckles. If there's anything constructive you can think of with that, then let me know, but otherwise, I think that, I don't know, I'm not sure whether I have much more useful to give you, Tabak.
How high is the ceiling?
Hold on. The compartment, I'd say, is just a little, well, I put it, say, 8 or 9 feet tall. Oh, well, no, close to 10 feet.
Okay. Is it normal lighting panels up there?
It would seem so, yes.
All right. Come here. I will lift you. See if you can open up one of the panels up there. I cannot reach it on my own. You could not reach it on your own. Mayhap together.
If this actually works here, then I'm going to have quite a story for later. She'll walk up to you and just wait for you to assume a proper position for her to gain the necessary lift.
Yes, I will assume the position and give her the boost up to the ceiling.
Okay. So as she, I'll presume some combination of either like maybe getting one foot with your hands, the other like with your shoulders or something like that.
Right, like Spock lifted Kirk up so they could, turn the subdermal transponders that they carried into a laser beam to open up a lock.
Yep. So let's call that. Give me a fitness and medicine roll.
Oh, I hate you.
And just for the fun of it, I'm spending a point of threat.
Oh, you would too.
Complication range is now 2.
Oh, damn you, sir. I still have one floating momentum from my last roll.
Well,
and we have 5 in the bank. So I'm going to get 2 more dice.
Okay, that would be 3 momentum then.
Yes, please. Well,
2 from the pool there, Traven.
2 from the pool, 1 from the float. So that's going to give me, that's 4 dice. So let's see what happens. Oh, there it is.
Okay, that is 4 successes and 1 complication. I will ask you
and
first.
It's what, 2 threat? I mean, it's either 2 threat or 2 momentum to buy off the complication.
Yep, I will give you that 2 momentum would come off of that roll.
Oh, so I could use the momentum that I just built to get rid of that complication.
Correct.
Oh, good. Do that.
All right. So she will begin to. She will lift up. It's the way that her boot kind of initially digs in, like less the one on your hand, but more the first one that gets onto your shoulder. Kind of cuts into your neck in a very uncomfortable way. I can only presume Tabak just growls through it as you
probably yeah.
Yep.
Maybe swears, going "Shah" under his breath.
She will start feeling about the panels, looking for something that she can get through. These are remarkably seamless.
Can I spend 2 momentum to get one of the panels to come loose?
You may attempt to do so, yes. The panel, she manages to just dig at a seam between the lighting panel. Traven, I'll ask you to drop those 2 momentum.
I'm a little slow.
Quite all right. Yep. And there is a clatter to the ground, a very loud clatter to the ground as a lighting panel comes away.
What's above it? Well, I sort of try to crane my neck up to look past her.
Bees.
Oh, this is an interesting setup. This looks like a Klingon design, but I'm not familiar with this plasma configuration. There's some sort of mesh of a sort here. Can't entirely make this out. Let me...
Come down, and I will try to look at it from the floor. Good. What do they feed you, woman?
I don't remember them giving me food. I couldn't tell you myself. As she steps down and you start to crane your neck up.
Mm-hmm.
What is your name?
Shit. I'm still looking up into the panel opening, trying to get a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Not looking towards the door. Tabak of the House of Cord. Who are you who dares not show their face?
Whom do you work for, Tabak of the House of Cord?
Do I get to roll anything while I'm looking at this stuff up in the ceiling?
You may attempt
before I die.
you may attempt a task here. Engineering and insight, I suppose, would be the most sensible thing.
Okay. And I'm going to use our last momentum there to get an extra die.
Okay. Difficulty on this one, I will not be telling you here.
Joy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that would be 3 successes on that roll.
Mm-hmm.
Tabak, the arrangement does seem unusual.
And I have xenotechnology.
Well, it seems like a Klingon design such as you can understand it. But there does seem to be some... it's hard to say. The design of this panel seems to be... There seems to be some sort of mesh of a sort between most of the lighting configuration and the circuitry there between you and the panel. Your best guess would be that this is something of a fairly advanced design, actually. It could have a security function. It could do something else. It's very difficult to tell exactly what this could do. If you could only get past that, you might be able to find a way to exploit or get at something in the lighting grid that would give you, I don't know, at least some sort of power disruption, maybe provide some sort of advantageous system, or like...
Okay, so you say there's a mesh, you say.
Yes.
Is it like thin? Is it like a wire mesh?
I'd say
Is it like a fishnet kind of looking thing?
I'd say the material more closely resembles wiring, although there's something somewhere between like a wire and a grate of a sort.
Okay.
Okay,
so
there's an uncannily like organic shaping or patterning to it.
Okay. The business of my house is that of my house, and I reach down and I pick up the cover panel that fell to the floor, and I wing it as hard as I can up into the grid above me, into the open panel.
Give me a daring plus security, please.
And I close my eyes. Just in case there's a big earth-shattering kaboom.
I close my eyes
I'm
only for a moment.
Oh,
I threw it. I didn't hold on to it. I threw it.
With 2 successes, it connects, and I'm going to say that's enough to at least hit it. Tell you what. Do we have a bludgeon on that for you?
What, on my character sheet?
Yes.
Don't believe so.
Okay. I'm just going to ask you to roll, let's call it 5 challenge dice, please.
5? Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
As the panel connects to the mesh, there's a static discharge from the grating, the whatever sort of system is between you and the rest of it. Sparks begin to zap, but the panel clatters back down, somewhat scored by carbon residue and all that. It is intact, but it is a bit worse for wear, unlike the mesh. Why do you strike at Imperial ships, TTRPG?
For answers to my questions.
Choose your pain.
Come and get me.
And with that,
I tire of your ancient queries.
the eyes will vanish. And a steady darkness is going to creep in the room.
If this was D&D, I'd say I disbelieve the darkness, but I don't have that mechanic here.
Indeed not. As a darkness begins to flood your vision, TTRPG, the walls steadily disappearing around you. Mindu simply says, "Well, that is a reaction, I suppose."
Before the darkness gets me entirely, I say to her, grab the panel cover. I'm assuming she's not passing out. Or am I incorrect in that?
No. As it overtakes you, you don't know whether she herself has also fallen unconscious, but as it overtakes you, well, just at that point, there's no way to know for certain whether it had an effect on her or not.
Okay.
But we'll revisit more of that in a moment here. We set the scene with the mostly powered down reactor pit. You have trudged over from the bridge and from anywhere else you may have needed to tend to, where you find the room mostly empty, mostly quiet, as primary systems have not engaged. You are presently only joined by Kelshaw, who seems to be very deep in her work, persistently trying to convince one of the panels to activate, and just about at the point of slamming it a few times.
Don't worry, we will stall him later.
That Patak is the least of my concerns right now. Not least so far as how he seems to have died so foolishly and left us into this predicament.
Well, that is true. But we're done to do some serious work. I've got an idea that might help us with the power problem.
What do you have in mind?
We're gonna trick the ship into thinking we put in a new one.
She furrows her brow slightly and turns away from the console, looking out, trying to make eye contact with you, Raldar, craning her head up just a very slight bit. Obviously, while the reactor pit, while this ship is generally small, it is one of the few places that is largely open, and therefore it is a place where you could actually extend something closer to your full height. So, how do you mean?
You see, I'm going to make the assumption that our captain was too smart for his own good. a lot of his lockouts, he probably did a really good job hiding them by making them very specific. We're essentially going to do a little power reset, remotely power the interface for our core, and mess with its computer identifications. Might not get us off the ground, but we might be able to get more power to work with.
Kelshaw kind of looks out to the, looks into space as she ponders your words. So, essentially attempting to reset some of the command systems or some of the base computer functions, almost as if we're pulling it off. This wouldn't be a full reset, as if we were pulling it fresh out of the shipyards, would it?
No, it's more like we're giving it a new ID. Identification.
I see.
In the computer system.
Well,
because if the captain had just put, if not on ship, break, I would have noticed that.
I see. Well, I suppose then we could attempt that. She ponders over your suggestion. And in meta, the GM is making sure that he has a sense of what you're going for, so. Let's see. Your first step would be basically to try and mess with the computer core a little bit. Maybe, get it on a separate power system and try to, basically try to upload, a new identification system and a few, command codes with that in order to convince the ship to work. I don't quite understand. I just want to make sure I have a good idea.
I'm pretty much messing with all the frequencies of the power core and how our computer reads it.
Okay. So it would start with a bit of work here in the engine room. Gotcha.
He's basically just trying to scratch off the old VIN number and replace it with a new one, if I'm understanding correctly.
Pretty much.
I gotcha.
Assuming that the lockouts are connected to the model number, the VIN number of the ship.
Indeed. Well, let us see if you can at least partially overcome the lockouts here. So then, Kelshaw will start walking over to one of the consoles, and she'll go to the main console near the reactors.
Mr.
Okay.
GM, I sent you some text.
Thank you. Okay.
You see, either I'm right or I'm setting off a bomb. This is great.
Is it great? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if we can, let's see then if we can execute those, first, I suppose. I'm sorry. I do not mean to be short with you or to seem unfocused here.
Peanut?
I ate earlier, and even if I did not have much of an appetite. I'm sure he died well, but I knew Dakoth when he was younger, but a child in our village.
Childhood friends or just acquaintances?
I was a good bit older at the time. I was actually I was going to enter service with our local Savan on Galiden to gain the necessary apprenticeships in order to perform the necessary mechanical work that help support the fields, keep agriculture in good function. Maybe have a profession that's, depending on how things went there, that, well, might give me the option to seek a place elsewhere in the service of a different lord if if circumstances dictated it, but otherwise to have something relatively secure.
A respectable and honorable choice.
She'll nod wordlessly to your response. I was away in training for much of the time that I guess would have been those formative years for Dakoth when he was on his path to become whatever he'd become. I'm sure that if he'd had the opportunity, he would have gone for Imperial service, or even just perhaps something serving one of the minor houses. He wanted to get out into the stars and to earn his name, to have some glorious reason to go to Stovall Corps. Unfortunately, there just wasn't the opportunity. The Imperial quota for crew seemed to, since the war, has just been, it's not what it needed to be for him to enter in, and he didn't have either what necessary sponsorship was desired, nor, frankly, did he have permission to leave the planet. Our former lord back on Galiden, too, was, even the one before last, they like to keep us where we were.
I see. And is not good they were restraining you from service to the Empire.
It deprived some of the honorable end that they sought. Or at least the opportunity for honor. I suppose Dakoth got that in the end. I only hope it was worthwhile to him. And that your captain, our captain, I hope that he too found something worthy to do with that.
Well,
As if his loss wasn't, then, and if he should still be alive somewhere, then, well, I should think someone should make him answer for that.
if he's still alive, you'll take your chance. And I do believe our good friend is in Stovall. Captain, I don't know.
Well, we shall see. Okay. Ready to attempt a computer override and to try and initiate the power flow. I will follow your lead, Raldar.
All right.
So, Raldar, describe what you are going to attempt to do first.
All right. First attempt is isolating the power source from the computer, so it is
Okay.
not reading what we're doing locally.
Okay. So, looking through the diagram as you understand the ship functions, you think that there should be a mechanical. Your knowledge as a ship's engineer on many a Klingon ship would tell you that there are some manual overrides for reactor function, and that you could begin a very basic system boot up in order to attempt a run at this. So I will give you a control plus engineering roll. I cannot say what the difficulty is on this roll.
I see. And then let us go. Oh, 2.
Indeed, I see 2 successes on the board, which for chat I'm going to broaden out that a little bit just so that you can more clearly read that. There we go. As you attempt to activate the manual overrides to try and disconnect the systems, well, I'll say at the very least that you think that you have it set up to where the main computer shouldn't be taking a precise readout or the main computer and the reactors wouldn't necessarily be talking at this moment, and that you might be able to initiate the attempt to initiate a power system if you would like. You don't know how successful it will go from here. So I guess would the next step be attempting to activate the main reactor, or did you have something else in mind first?
Yeah, if we're not reading, I do the thing where I change numbers and I try to turn on the reactor.
Okay, one more control plus engineering roll.
All right.
You want some momentum? Oh, never mind.
All right.
Does my companion here not roll to assist?
Kelshaw will take a roll on this, which, since you succeeded, she does help out here. So yeah, once you are certain you have things isolated, Kelshaw will look to it and say, attempting to bring main power back online.
Affirmative.
And she will assist for one additional success. With the inputs set up as you have them, it looks as though some of the initial commands are coming up. However, mere moments after you try to enter in the first sequences, error messages immediately begin setting off. From the looks of things, there are mechanical emergency shunts which are preventing the reactors from powering up. Something fouling up some of the drive system. And Tabak, do you have another attention Bajoran workers message in you?
Jesus Christ.
Raldar, stop messing around. You're not going to figure this out. You're going to push the wrong thing, and the ship's going to explode. Then it signs off.
That obsequious Batach! Kelshaw just exclaims.
My eyebrow twitches from the challenge issued to me by this mother Batak. Oh my goodness. I did not spend so long fixing this hunk of junk to be locked out by a dead man.
If we go through the deuterium interlocks, we might be able to spot the problem that that our so-called captain has imposed upon us.
I see. All right, let's work through this in the manual locks then.
Mm-hmm. And the two of you begin to tear apart. Basically, start going through with a process that would be just shy of tearing the engine open and, finding the segment that is disrupted. While all of that continues, let's cut over to the medical bay, where one erstwhile member of the crew is steadily coming to consciousness.
I'd imagine there are probably hangover cure shots by now, especially on Klingon ships.
Certainly.
I would have provided him with one.
Yes. So, the Han, I presume he is restrained in the advanced biobed? Yep.
Restrained in the advanced biobed. Doors to leave sickbay are locked.
Indeed. As he comes to, he struggles, his shoulders going to and fro, trying to buckle against that. His movement stiffened by the bracing which there's the external sort of metallic bracing he has around his shoulders that connects up into his neck. Ugh. The least I could do is leave proper blood wine. Feel. This crew has no garumba, no proper sense of. Yeah.
No proper sense of what? As I'm speaking through the intercom into the room.
His eyes just glance around. Oh, he's doctor. Show yourself.
You can see me through the window.
I forget, is there a window from...
Yes, there is a window.
Oh.
I like to think that
there is now.
The narrative bends in such a way that there is a window from Kressik's room into the main sickbay. Really, it's a lab, but it is kind of Kressik's room. I imagine you can polarize the view when you so desire.
Exactly.
Yes. So look in, and I guess he'll see you at your desk, Kressik. Traven, are you still munching?
Just watching.
Okay. So just Traven standing behind him, I imagine, looking as somber as you can for what is to come.
I have my medical bag on the table, leafing through my big leather-bound book, just sitting at the desk.
I have a question. What kind of leather?
You don't want to know. Large mammalian bipedal leather. Same thing his lab coat's made out of.
Oh my.
Which he is now wearing.
Oh no.
His big leather lab coat.
Oh, he strains to try and look over the top emplacement of the biobed, but between the restraints and how the bracing has him set up, he's just barely able to get a glance. Oh, not ready to come into the room and greet me.
As long as I am here, you are safe. You should be thanking me.
Oh, yes, I'm sure. Thanks to my captors. Thanks to those that have kept me on this ship that saw their place to decide how my life went. Kept me from my goals.
What goals?
Oh. He pauses a moment. I'm going to just give it a quick. Set this at a low difficulty for start. Let's see. You keep me from. You have kept me from finding that which still haunts my dreams, which has taken many a crew away. I would have found another ship eventually, but no, you've kept me here on this unique ship of horrors itself to all for what? Because you thought you were being of some help. You thought that you could simply bring me on board and make me some servant to your whims. That's what your Captain Tabok thought. Yes. But I am strong of will.
You've lost several crews. I'm sure it was easy for you to sacrifice another for your aims.
Just to know that beast dies out there, that is all that would satisfy me. And to know that I could find my way there. Yes. Thought you could do it. Thought I might see help here, but you ignore it completely. You ignore the dangers out in the depths of space. And you find more of your own. Foolishly, needlessly. You take horrors and you bring them with you. You make them your own. Perhaps the real monsters are in this hull. In these walls.
Crescent closes his book, swivels around in his chair to face to where Bahan is at. The current captain of this ship and the previous captain, I do not know, nor do I care why they decided to bring you on board. What I do know is that unless your blood wine was speaking for you, you provided the information that led to the death of one member of this crew and the disappearance of two more.
Bahan goes quiet for a moment.
He's not saying anything?
He isn't saying anything just yet. So if you have more to
Gotcha.
say there, then
Yep.
I'm taking this as he's just Kresic has made the declaration of what he's
Mhm.
figured out. So he's, I guess, waiting for.
And so, as the caretaker of the well-being of this crew, I need to know if that is true.
The Nautican leans his head back against the rest, furrowing his brow. Find them I did. There were. I had things beyond this ship. Interested parties. People wanting to know things and willing to pay much to know them. Know who I am, know who they were. It never works that way. Always has to stay quiet. But no, their Darsek's worth worth the word they put behind it. Yes. Yes, I could respect that. I could find that. I could build with that. And the more I look, the more I turn around, more I find there are those looking at this ship, and oh, did they want to know. They wanted to know, maybe not entirely just of this, but of the people behind it. Of monsters that would rampage through a paltry camp of miners, those that would be willing to put the knife in the back of a Klingon warrior, those that hear rumblings of most strange sort of an unfeelanoid warrior rambling about. Put it together, I did.
So you have connections. You used them to sacrifice this crew for your money.
Not sure it was a whole crew. No. Not all of them care. Not all of them want. All. No, just some. It's more than money. It's freedom. That I won't have here. That I never had here.
Then why did you join here in the first place? You knew you were not joining as a leader, but as a follower.
He starts craning back up and screams back out. Do you know how I came on this ship? Last memory I had before this ship, I was staring down a mug beyond count. My last bit of ale. There'd been much drink, much to console myself for the loss. It was well beyond memory at that point. And finally, the drink took over and perception failed me. Then when I woke here, I found myself on this ship, warping away from that Zethlor, and finding you all keeping me around, and for time couldn't leave normally. Perhaps I thought there was an opportunity. I did need to work at this high station. They have a captain already. Yes, that captain is good. But then, no. Then it becomes clear who that captain really is. It starts small. It's restricting those rations. It's having me go to my quarters every night, reliving those moments when my ship came apart and not allowing me the chance to dull it. It's taking monsters on board this ship and then turning them against their enemies just because it is easy. There's no grumble in that. No honor. Such that anyone on this ship cares. It is the picking of these stupid, senseless fights. Which even I can recognize. It's getting in trouble with forces far beyond what we can handle. Somehow we run afoul of Imperials? Oh, no. This place is wrong. This place. The captain and those around them, they made decisions, and they didn't care. They didn't care what I had to think. They barely thought. You barely thought. This time, yelling in your direction, Traven. And look what it did for you. Facing down monsters and leaving away wounded. When they keep here.
Kresic, did you lock your office door?
Are you planning to leave?
I'm walking into where he is.
I'm gonna punch you. I'm gonna knock you out before you do anything stupid. If you're trying to leave, well, first I'm gonna put a hand on you to keep you from going. But if you try and resist, I'm going to stop you with force.
Traven, do you...
So,
the doctor places his hand on your shoulder as you start walking towards the door. Do you pause, or do you try to proceed?
Listen, that guppy fish-mouthed asshole is talking a lot of disrespect on our captain, and are we just going to sit here and take it?
Traven, you and I both know that there would have been a lot that we could have avoided. I've cut out the audio for the time being, so he can't hear us. There was a lot that would have been avoided if the captain knew when to not be so Klingon. To not throw away life in some inane honor gambit.
I don't see that. I don't think the captain's thrown away lives.
Dekoth would disagree.
Dekoth did his duty. That's what you work on a starship for. If we were stranded on a planet and I was there, everybody would be fed and I would die of starvation before anybody else could. Because that's my duty. That's my job. Just like you, if you were the last person here, you would die trying to save everybody here, right? That's what Dekoth did. The captain respected and kept Dekoth around because he was a good person. He was honorable. He fought well. And Dekoth did exactly what he wanted to do with his life. Hell is not a place you want to go. He's where he needs to be. He's happy. Yes, his life may have been sacrificed, but remember, the captain was not the one that took his life. The captain may have been put in weird, stupid situations, but that does not mean it's his fault. If you outweigh the things that he might have done bad and the things that he did good, his good's pretty high up there. I'd probably be dead in a gutter for saying the wrong things if it wasn't for him.
Let the GM note that he takes pain but no offense in the captain being placed in weird, stupid situations.
I turn back on the audio, keeping my hand on Traven. You are not incorrect, Bahan. There are many foolish things that happen aboard this ship every day. Things that I find deeply troubling.
So then, what do you do about it?
Hey, Crescent,
Yes.
how about we get him really drunk?
Give me a moment.
What do you do? He's just shrieking and, like, tearing away at the bio bed as much as he can. There's, like, his somewhat mercurial, like, stage, or the inane ramblings are starting to churn a bit more, and something more resembling a barely contained rage, like as if looking at the embodiment of a reactor breach is taking hold on his face.
You do what you can, and if you cannot take it, then you get out while you still can. You had every opportunity to leave this ship peacefully when we returned here. And yet you chose to sell out the crew. Tell me who you sold this information to. And You have my word. That this crew will not harm you. And you can leave.
Well, don't know the names now, do I? All those that got the word. Not the way it works. No. No.
But you have ways to contact them.
Contact them I could, yes. But for what? Pain? Avoiding pain. Pain is an old friend at this. Pain is what I know. What reason? What incentive could you give me?
I already told you. You can leave this ship with no strings. Get out and get on with whatever pitiable life you have.
Looks over towards you and then angles his head back on the bio bed. You do what you can, he says. Do what you can. I did what I did. Gone too deep, did I? Yes. We're here now. I did those things and... Not one to simply do for that own purpose. No. Stand by what I did. See if you can do the same. Have you got the garumba for it?
Kressik sits. For a moment. You see Bahan. I'm a doctor. And a doctor vows not to bring harm to his patients. And I have done a good job at that. And do you know how? Because all these years, I have shut myself in to this work. I have only focused on the work. This crew is a foolish group of rash idiots who simply do not understand common sense or themselves. I would almost agree that you made the right choice, but you just had to sell out my friend. And I could have let all this go. I told you as long as I was here, you were safe. I'm stepping through these doors now, Bahan. You are not safe with me any longer.
Dun, dun, dun.
He's going to step through. He is going to he's going to sleeper choke Traven on his way out.
Give me a daring plus security roll.
So
Traven,
for Kresic, it's fitness and security because of his talent.
Yes. Traven, daring plus security to contest.
Gotta fight for your life.
Can I use my survival focus?
That I don't think quite applies necessarily.
Fair enough.
You may declare a. You can gain a single focus for the rest of the scene using your joined talent. So if you want to call on something from one of the previous Lexes, then that would be an option.
Absolutely will.
Okay.
I'm going to call upon Hebo.
Okay. You
I'm gaining the hand-to-hand combat focus.
You think back and you're really it's almost instinctive as this large reptilian arm comes around you. The thinking of, or rather the instincts of a soldier on a distant battlefield trying to keep his other men alive and himself, and getting into nasty trench related fights. Like those instincts come to you as quickly, and you attempt to navigate that. Oh dear.
Beat 4 successes.
Yep.
Beat 4 successes, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah.
no. All right, that is no successes to that to those
And
four.
the complication.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Traven, I have to ask, Kresic, with the you exceed the base difficulty of 1. So that's 3 momentum incoming. Just
I'm going to
for
spend
record.
2 to ignore that complication.
Okay, well, question would have gone to Traven here. Traven, do you accept
Oh, okay.
the incoming momentum to ignore the complication, or would you prefer to accept a narrative complication? Would you prefer to ignore it and grant the GM threat?
Narrative complication.
I
Oh,
hate you.
oh boy.
Good lad.
Woe was such a terrible influence on you.
It's true. Give me a second. My AC turned off. I just need to hit the override again.
Copy that.
It's hot that you chose the narrative complication.
Yes. Welcome in, Ray. So,
Hi.
It's hot now. Now we have.
Okay, I'm back.
yep.
It's so hot, but it's only hot when
So,
Traven does it.
Okay, understood.
yep.
So I'm going to roll damage,
Go right ahead.
which my unarmed strikes now hit as hard as a disruptor pistol.
You're not going
Love
for
it.
lethal, right?
No, absolutely not lethal. I'm not killing Traven. Come on.
We just got him back from hell.
You see,
I'm
you
going to
did
spend a
love-
momentum to re-roll those 5 zeros.
Oh,
You don't have
See,
to, jeez.
Yep. As right now, that would be 3 damage with the knockdown effect. So go ahead and...
That's better.
Yeah, that's... that would be a total
10 points of stress.
Yep. Traven, how much have you got there?
Not a lot.
Let's see.
I've got. I should be full still.
Yes.
I have 9.
Oh dear. So, yeah, you exceeded his track and dealt 2 non-lethal injuries in
Which
one...
does make a lethal injury.
Yep.
But
Kresik
he's the
is...
doctor. He's the doctor, so we can.
I'm
make
a
sure he's
doctor.
not injured.
Yep.
Yeah.
Kresik, yeah, but in your rage and in your attempt to get Traven aside, you apply slightly more strength, and I don't necessarily know if you hear the crunch that comes out, that happens, or entirely notice that Traven just falls to the floor as you reach the door.
Probably not.
The,
Oh.
Traven, I should ask, now that you are full on momentum, would you like to ignore one of those injuries?
Normally
yes.
I would,
Yes, good.
but
Oh no.
But
Rule of drama. Rule of drama.
I think
Do it.
this would kill Kresik.
It would kill Traven.
Let's tell you what. So let's leave that alone for a moment. Kresik, you cross the threshold. You approach the threshold of the door. Traven is slumped off to the side after you gave him a good tight squeeze, and you have come through.
I walk through. I get up to Bahan. I just say, all of that knowledge that you sold that got you so much money. And yet, you never did find out who would bring you the most, did you? I have been on this ship right under your nose for all this time. You've been to space. You know of the Gorn. You know of their nursery worlds, their hunter ships, their predatory ways. But let me tell you something. And I lean right up to him and I whisper what I'm about to send you right now. With the implication of, I know that he sells this information, and the fact that I'm telling him this information means that he is never leaving this place alive. And then I'd like to kill him.
Oh boy!
Double murder.
I guess the doctor is hungry.
How would you like to dispatch of him?
I'm going to crush his windpipe. I am going to,
Yeah.
I am going to also, this is the point, I'm going to challenge a value. I'm going to get rid of if they breathe, they are my patient as a value, and give myself another point of determination that I can choose to spend at any time.
Go right ahead.
Please rip his tongue out too. That would be so hot of you.
I guess that would be fitness plus security as Bahan he greets you with wide eyes at the revelation that you have given him. And
I am just going to crush just destroy his windpipe.
Okay. Would you like the proper roll, or would you rather just use would you basically like to use the determination to just create the...
No, I want to use the determination after this.
Okay. So, give me your fitness plus security roll.
I imagine it's uncontested?
It is indeed. Base difficulty of 1 still applies. 2 successes on the board, so that will be adequate for that. That does give me a point of momentum.
Yes, it gives you a point of threat.
Well,
Gives
yes,
us a point of momentum as well.
Yes, because you've declared a lethal injury, so yes, you do gain momentum.
And I'm going to roll my unarmed strike for damage, which is enough to do a
Yep.
lethal injury.
Yep, those are 3 effects, which give you a single point on their own, plus Vicious 1, for a total of 6. So as you bring your hand down, he can scarcely squeeze out the word monsters. And as your throat as your hand comes down on his throat, and just like you feel the crunch under him, and like under you is bone and flesh and like all give way. In those last moments, he tries to scream, but that of to give a look of defiance, of something as if to face off against the inevitable. But scarcely more than a gargle can be managed as his eyes go wider and wider, and gradually that resistance crumbles out, that spark vanishing from his look.
Excellent. So he's dead?
He is.
Excellent. So now I'm going to use my talent, Don't You Die on Me. When a character is killed, you may spend 1 determination to make 1 attempt to revive them. And I'm going to spend that so I'm going to spend 1 determination to do this revive check. I'm going to spend a 2nd determination based off of my using my value, become what others need, to give myself an automatic critical success on this. It's a daring and medicine check, difficulty of 3.
Yep. So you need 1 additional success
that is
for that.
That is increased by 1 because I'm a trill.
He's saving Bahan, I think.
Yeah, I'm not saving you.
Oh my god, that's dark.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh dear. Let's see. So that is 1 success, and that is a complication.
I'm spending 2 momentum to avoid that complication.
Okay.
1 success plus the critical that I got from spending that other point of determination is 3 successes, which is enough to bring him back to life.
Yep. So, with a quick work of tools, the tools you have on hand, it is a quick measure to stimulate the crushed fragments of bone to recohere, to restore integrity to the blood vessels that were crushed, and to reopen the airway. Even, I'd say, a cocktail of anti-inflammatories and steroids, and something to, I don't know, basically an epinephrine analog in order to, stimulants, that's what I'm thinking of. In order to do that, and I imagine for good measure, a good, knock on the chest just to restart his heartbeat. And at which point, he gasps for breath.
You see, Bahan, I am a doctor. Life and death are in my hands. You, Bahan, are going to die now. The question is, how many times before you tell me what I need to know?
I might die today, but I will not be the last one to die on this ship. Not so long as monsters roam free. None are safe. And as he says this, he gives a glance back through the... he glances back towards your office. And I should say, at this point, I would presume too, Doctor, you are you still have something in your system right now helping you see and hear certain impulses. Would that not be correct?
Yes, I have reactivated certain augments that have been dormant for some time.
Let
So
me.
should I make a reason check?
Let me. Yeah, yeah. Let me go ahead and run that through. I feel like, well, I would have said insight would be an appropriate thing, but I believe the augment applies to reason, does it
It
not?
does, yes.
Okay.
Reason and medicine?
Yes.
Would one of my focuses apply?
I would say. Oh boy.
Emergency medicine.
Paranormal activity.
Oh boy!
Oh god.
Finally.
Emergency medicine, xenobiology,
Yeah. Some of
one of
those.
those.
Yeah, one of those should work.
All right,
One
what's the
of-
difficulty?
I think for this, I am going to let it go. I'm going to set the difficulty on this to 3.
Okay, anyone mind if I spend a thingy, a momentum to get a third die?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Okay. Okay, so I have. Oh wait, I didn't increase my complication range by 2. Were any of those 18s?
None of those were 18s.
Okay, but I did spend a momentum, so I do get cautious, so I
Yep.
can reroll that complication.
Yep. 4 successes.
So that's 7
Oh,
successes
7 successes.
because of
augmented
enhanced ability.
Yep, enhanced.
Yeah, augmented ability.
Yep.
So refill
Yep. And
plus an additional 4 floating.
Yep. Sorry, remembering how that talent comes into play now. Yeah,
It is a broken talent.
Yes, your mind is positively racing at this point, carrying on different tracks. There are the innumerable ways that you can subject this man to damage, to the at this point what you would consider well-deserved torments. There are any number of solutions that you have going here. There's everything that you are minding with the vital signs, both from the monitors that you have on the station and everything that you know from every text, every experiment that you personally have performed or data that you have looked through. Based on all those assessments, based on what you know, you understand that even with Bahan's unique modifications, you know the points on him that can withstand precise bits of force. You understand firmly how much force you can apply, how much you are capable of right now, and what would be necessary to cause severe damage to snap his neck as many times as necessary. You're fully cognizant of it. You realize you've applied it deliberately and in some cases maybe with less care. You realize that you have not in this rush you have not shown you've not shown the restraint that you normally would. Not just here, but you realize that that same amount of pressure is more than enough to have done much more serious damage to Trill physiology.
And
once again, Bahan just says, monsters all. None here are safe.
you're right. Everyone on this crew is a monster in their own way. There's no use running from it. He's going to turn and he is going to perform the first aid task on Traven, which is another daring and medicine check.
Yep.
He's still okay.
Difficulty, I think, is normally 2.
Yep.
But I think it goes up to 3 because you're a trill, right, Traven?
Yes.
You're a join trill, to be precise.
Yes.
Can I use... Oh, yeah, I have 4 points of floating momentum.
Yep.
So I'm going to use one of those to get a third die. I really should have upped my daring, but he's not a very daring guy.
Not outside of when circumstances push him into it. But
that's enough.
Yep, that is 4 successes, so that will.
So you are healed, and since I have the stimulant shot talent, you also regain 10 points of stress.
Broke my neck.
I did not break your neck.
Taught internal bleeding. There's a difference.
Yep. Yes, you assure him you did not break his neck as you re-stitch together parts of it, as you verify that, in fact, the segments of his spine are now back and set in place in the multiple segments where they did so. Furthermore, the neurological connections.
Not broken, just moved.
You know, Kresic, usually when things move, that means they're broken.
I would like to, because I still have a butt ton of floating momentum right now.
Yep.
In this scene.
I'd like to plead the 5th.
Can I spend... Can I spend 2 of them to give me an advantage?
What advantage
And that
are you looking
is from my conversation with Bahan, and in particular when he started complaining about how he was, constantly trapped and not allowed to go anywhere or do anything. That means the only times he would have been able to send this information out was when he was at his station on the bridge. Mm-hmm. Which means that there should be... Bahan was usually drunk. It means that there should be a way to trace his communications that he sent through his station.
Because if he was sloppy drunk, he was probably sloppy and keeping track, trying to erase his records.
Exactly.
It is worth noting that the captain put him on a ration. Either it was under his orders or yours to have him placed under a blood wine ration, and that at a certain point, narratively, it had been stated that you had run out of blood wine. So
that is true.
He did have a phase where he was sobered up. And
that is true.
You can still we can still have the advantage to where
basically the advantage is from the conversation that we had where he was apparently not really allowed in a lot of places, which I mean he's a Nautican, so
yes.
Fair. But to have him make that connection that there should be some way, and the fact that we've seen how locked down this ship is when it comes to the captain's control over it, to say that there should be a place, even though it violates all privacy laws, where the captain probably stores every incoming and outgoing message.
Absolutely.
Without as a separate thing. So even if Bahan went and erased everything, him putting all of this information together with the backdrop of the lockdown allows him to come up with this this potential.
I think that is entirely tenable in spite of what I'm sure are rigorous Klingon privacy laws.
That was sarcasm. You got sarcasm all over the interface. All right.
Oh, what a pity. Need me to grab a rag to clean that up?
No, not at all. That's somebody else's job.
Moving
At
on.
which point, I will slam the communicator on the wall. Kresic to Azik. Kresic to anyone in charge.
Oh,
Oh dear. The communications. Communications must be quite messed up at the moment.
Oh, he is
I know that-
BRB.
Yeah. Joe's away at the
Yeah.
moment. Vopri
But
will
literally,
probably answer.
Here's the thing, though. Whenever Kresic sends a message, he always sends it to the whole ship because, he doesn't really care
Yep.
about that. So, whoever is going to answer
Yep.
is fine.
Uh,
Kresic to anyone in charge.
Yep. Let's see. I can just imagine Vopri hovering over a console, uncertain whether he wants to push a button. Azik otherwise preoccupied. Let's see. I guess next down the order, Raldar. Would you? Do you think that you would be just waist deep in engine parts and too busy to respond to it?
I think I can step away and respond.
Gotcha. So you make it to a wall panel to answer Kresic's ship-wide signal. Oh, and the captain's actually back now, so both of you may well answer this one. Yep.
As he said, Kresic to anyone in charge. And you guys both answer in unison, probably.
Yes.
What is it, Kresic?
Bahan sent this information to interested parties from our ship, which means he sent them from his station, because where else would he send it from? Do we keep logs of any sort of these communications?
Yes. Standard. They don't have them that often, so we don't have to really delete them that often.
Check through there. And if there is nothing there, then maybe there's a second, smaller, secret log communication part that the captain has installed somewhere on this control freakish ship of his.
I'll see what I can do.
What else did you find out about from our guest?
He is just a second. Hold on one second.
Sure thing.
Okay, sorry. Someone just swung by my cubicle. Where was I? What else did you find out about the guest?
Yeah.
About
Okay. He sold out this information for money because he finds the crew erratic, monstrous, and eager to place themselves in the way of pointless death. And I cannot disagree with any of those reasons. Unfortunately, your well-placed blow damaged the Nausicaan's second phalangeal spleen. He will not survive. He's just making shit up about Nausicaan biology to you right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's cold.
Well, when you're done doing whatever it is you're doing, why don't you feed him to Tiny? I'm sure he'll appreciate it.
What's a tiny?
Our pet.
He's not a pet.
When did we get a pet?
I remember
That's my son.
the animal or the
Traven, did they not tell you?
Tell me about what?
Have Traven feed it to him. Feed the Nausicaan to him.
I will not participate in such a activity. I provided you my information. That is all. Good day. And he closes the comms. Traven, we need to talk.
I think that is the best place for us to cut out for tonight's rather heavy session. We'll find out how all of that goes, not next week. For those of you watching in the archive, it is going to be a little while. For those in the live stream, we will be taking a break next week, but the next live session of Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword will be taking place on November 29th. So that'll be...
Next week be Gobble Day.
Yes, next week we will be consuming large amounts of bird.
We will be consuming the remnants of the dinosaurs.
Yes.
Or just tofu.
Yes.
Ew.
Nothing.
Disgusting.
There is plenty of honor in consuming tofu. Don't let them tell you otherwise.
You're right. The honor is it provides more turkey for the rest of us.
Gross.
Don't diss it.
No,
Tofu's
you-
awesome.
It is.
Actually,
It really is.
the really hard tofu, like cut into rectangles and fried with salt and pepper and olive oil, is indistinguishable from scrambled eggs.
Yep.
My friend, you have not even begun to put spices on those bad boys. And also, Steven makes some mean tofu.
I would rather have tofu than turkey, honestly.
No, we're not doing
I
tofurkey.
don't like turkey.
We're not doing tofurkey.
Tofurkeys are great.
I'm not making
Tofurkeys are good.
Well, logistics being what they are, the crew is not doing a Thanksgiving either, so that's neither here nor there at any rate.
No.
Until then, we will see you guys later. So for those in the archive,
That's for eating the Nausicaan.
this is where we leave you off.